Okay. So thank you, everyone. I would like as well to shortly introduce myself because maybe for some of you might be the first time that you see me maybe presenting or in other meetings. So my name is Katerina Maksuti and I have recently joined Larnaca Public Transport. So this is since May. So this is the end of my third month. So maybe that's why we didn't have the chance to interact before. Maybe I have interacted with some of you in other meetings or via email. And it's a very great pleasure to me to be working with you. I have to say that I have been amazed about the work that has been done so far in the project. And together with Andreas Dimitriadis that has heavily worked on this project so far, we will now keep working on this project and more specifically with Larnaca Living Lab. And today I will hold the presentation, this expert session as part of the work package for activities about the selection of NSM location for their efficient use. So NSM stands for New Share Mobility and refers to modern technology-enabled transportation services that provide short-term access to vehicles or modes of transport without requiring an ownership. So it includes services such as bike sharing, and this is underlined as you have realized from my previous presentation. As in our Living Lab, we use this new share mobility, but it can also include e-scooters, car sharing, ride-hailing platforms. And these NSM are typically operated through some digital applications that are accessible for booking, payment, and real-time monitoring of the location of these means of transport. So some key features about these shared mobilities, they are short-term, you use them for short-term time, is on-demand access to these mobility services, is managed through mobile or web-based platforms. They are usually flexible and often integrated with public transportation. And generally, they aim to reduce the traffic and have a positive environmental impact. So which are the key criteria for selecting the locations where are you going to install this new share mobility? So the first one is the high demand. So you need to select some locations that are near to transit hubs, so close to a train station or a bus terminal. Other areas are commercial districts, close to universities, university areas, and workplaces. And generally, it will be very efficient if it's in populated residential zones. Another criterion is the connectivity with other modes of transport. For example, with other public transport such as buses, trains, or other means for the first or the last mile. So to get into the public transportation, to the other mode, or for the last mile when you exit or leave the public transportation to use this NSM for your last mile in order to reach your final destination. Also, the integration with pedestrian paths or cycling lanes is a key. Another criterion is the safety and accessibility. So it should be in some visible locations, maybe close to bike lanes or low traffic loads. And of course, we should consider that should be accessible, safe, and easy to use by people with disabilities. So moving on, a very important element is the infrastructure. So there should be space for docking stations. So somewhere that you can get the new shared mode and lock it, unlock it, maybe close to parking zones. There should be availability for power for electric options such as the e-scooters or e-bikes, and also an infrastructure that it will be easily maintained and rebalancing for logistics, so collecting and from the distributed locations that for example, bikes are, to be recollected again to the location for the next users or for the next day. User behavior and patterns. So it's very important to use data from existing mobility services such as heat maps or trip patterns in order to select locations close to existing mobility services, to see the behavior of the users, survey responses or pilot program feedback and readjustments, as well as time of day usage trends. Very important also is to hear the public authorities, what are the policies, what are the generally urban planning alignment of the cities that the new shared mobility is going to be installed. So compliance with municipality regulations, the sustainability and smart city goals should be considered. And also, it's very important to get the community support and acceptance and get the input from the relevant stakeholders. Either this is the municipalities, the ministries, or the end users. And last one is the operational efficiency. So it should be close to service zones for maintenance and recharging, and clustering to reduce the redistribution effort mentioned before. So here in a more analysis, what I have explained before about the selection criteria, the demand and user density. So as I said, you need high foot traffic areas close to campuses, shopping districts, residential and mixed zones, mixed use zones. So where people live and work, but also to reach some events or shopping districts. And you need to use the mobility data and surveys mentioned before to identify these popular locations. Another key element is the first and last mile integration. So locations near public transit stops for seamless modal transitions that will enable multimodal trips and increases the transit accessibility. Also consider the infrastructure readiness. Where are there bike lanes? Where are there sidewalks or drop zones? Available public or commercial spaces for parking, docking, or charging. They are safe, visible, and accessible for all users. About the operational efficiency, as mentioned before, about maintenance, rebalancing the routes, clustering to reduce redistribution cost, minimizing the vehicle downtime. Also, cooperation with local governments and clear guidelines, alignment with their urban mobility plans and also climate goals, and community support to avoid the resistance from the local authorities or from the end users. Of course, it should be an inclusive selection. So to ensure that the NSM services reach undeserved communities, to avoid only central locations, and also promote the transport justice and universal access for everyone. For environmental and safety considerations, it's good to avoid high traffic or unsafe areas, and also prefer zones with lower emission goals or that they exhibit a green infrastructure. So key messages to share here is that if we can sum it up, that we should ensure or generally ensure that the efficient use of NSM services, the location selection should prioritize areas with high demand, with strong multimodal connections, safe infrastructure, and operational feasibility. And some data or input can be used for this selection are from analysis from users or from other public transportation services and from the stakeholders. So I wanted also to share some insights from our Living Lab concerning this aspect. I have introduced some introductory slides. They are very few in order to remind you about Larnaca Living Lab, what were the a starting point before SAM, and how did we selected the bike sharing locations, and what is the combination of public transport and the NSM for Larnaca. So Larnaca is one of the 9 living labs of SAM. So the city that you haven't visited yet through SAM and hopefully visit next year, is a coastal city in the island of Cyprus. It has a population of 144,000 inhabitants in 2025, is headquartering of several companies such as marine, oil, technology. And most importantly, you may know the city as it hosts the primary airport of the country, of almost 9 million of passenger traffic last year. So the modal split on the top right side of the slide before SAM was, according to statistics, over 80% usage of personal cars, 8% using taxis, 7% walk, and just 2% use public transport such as buses. And 2%, the last 2% is private bikes. So as you can understand, there was no micromobility concept or existence before SAM. And this was also due to lack of infrastructure. So the mobility challenges that Larnaca has been facing or was facing we will reevaluate this after SAM. These are the data before SAM. Was the primary usage of personal cars, micromobility non-existent, lack of infrastructure, and lack of bike sharing services. The objectives of our Living Lab is to coordinate share modes with public transport, co-design mobility hub infrastructure, and integrate new mobility into public transport ticketing systems. So this is what we have done. We have introduced bike sharing with our partner Next Bike in the city of Larnaca, and combine it with public transport, with buses that we operate in Larnaca as Larnaca Public Transport, and combine them in our mass application, in the BAME app application that Cyprus Public Transport was using. So the key stakeholders for this Living Lab was us, Larnaca Public Transport as the public transport operator, the NSM provider, our partner in the project Next Bike, the mass developer or technology provider is our partner from Spain, Cunisa. And then data analysis and policy evaluation has been done or is continued being doing by MOBI. Other organizations that we have cooperated with them that are not part of the project are the Municipality of Larnaca and the Ministry of Transport, Communications and Works. So thanks to SAM, we have introduced a new shared mobility in the city of Larnaca, and this was bike sharing. So we have managed to install in 20 locations 100 Next Bikes with our partner Next Bike. And how did we select these locations in Larnaca? First of all, we have used the survey responses within the framework of SAM. Larnaca Public Transport used data and analyzed data from heat maps and trip patterns that halted from our past trips and locations. We took, of course, into consideration where are our bus stops. So in order to be easy to connect it to the last mile after using our buses, we consider commercial districts or workplaces, integrated these locations close to with pedestrian paths and cyclic lanes, where there was space for docking stations for Next Bike. And we have strongly cooperated with the Municipality of Larnaca and get their guidelines as to where to install the docking stations, which are aligned with Larnaca's urban mobility plans, and also where the infrastructure was in their plan of development or in early stages of development. So we have created a new service in Larnaca, the combination of bus and bike. So using the LPT buses for their public transportation, and then after the bus, rent a bike sharing option, the Next Bikes, through our mass application that LPT had. So here on the right side are some screenshots of the mass application, how the next bikes were integrated into our application. The application shows where are the bike locations, also real-time data for buses. You can do a trip planning. You can pay through the app for your last mile. You can unlock the bike through the mass application. Yeah, in a nutshell, these are the key functionalities of the app that combine this, the public transport with the new shared mobility. We have also included this slide to show you how Larnaca Public Transport tried to adjust their business in order to facilitate this service and this new share mobility. We have increased our bus frequency in Larnaca. So we have selected some routes and increased the trips and kilometers in weekdays and weekend days. And actually, we have used it as a pilot, but in the end, we have seen that, for example, in our route, the 717, there was a 76 increase of bus usage from last June until this June. And for the route 421, there was a 24% usage of our buses because of this increase on frequency for the pilot. And we kept the bus trips in our business and use it as it stands now. And in the end, wanted to share and close with a short video that we have created together with our commercial department about Larnaca Living Lab. So I hope that the sound will be working, so you will see some nice summerish views of Larnaca and how it works. Can you hear as well?
No, there's no sound, I think.
Okay, it's just, but do you see moving?
Yes,
Yeah.
we see the video.
Okay. Okay. Oops. Okay. So here are my contact details, and thank you very much for your attention. If there are any questions, I would be happy to reply. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katerina, for an excellent presentation. Are there any questions for her?
Great. That means everything was clear.